Our children are
Biases refers to the tendency of preferring one gender over the other, and this usually affects both men and women. So it's socially constructed norms, behaviors, and usually we see that in our communities, women end up getting more affected as a result of gender biases. So this gender biases usually comes in that we see it mostly like in the fields of education, property inheritance, property ownership, where we find that society has made its own conclusions, its own stereotypes on who should own, on who shouldn't own, say, property. And we've seen that in this, women have been more affected in this. So in the Rwenzori region, which borders the Democratic Republic of Congo and is made up of districts like Chenjojo, Kabarole, Wundibujo, Kasese, Action Women Foundation, together with the Rwenzori Forum for Peace and Justice, undertaking a project which is called Amplifying the Participation of Women in Post-2021 General Elections Peace Building Process in the Rwenzori region, which is funded by the UN Women. And this has been helping us in looking at many gender issues, including looking at the gender biases in the Rwenzori region. Gender biases have been caused by many factors. For instance, ignorance, we have lack of education, we have the culture, we have religion, ethnicity, which have brought upon many causes, many effects, where we found that there has been a lot of women battering, divorce, separation, school dropout rates, child labor, and even sometimes death. Very many effects have come up as a result of the gender biases that we realize in our societies. And to this effect, under this project, it has helped us to look at how gender biases are in the Rwenzori region, to profile them, to document them, and to share them with the different stakeholders so that we can be able to see, to know, and to understand what takes place in this region, and we help to strengthen the participation of women in peace-building process within this region.
And bias is looking like appreciating one side of gender. In most cases, looking at men as superior to women. It is still there. Like in places like Kiaka, places like here in Kabarole, like in Kichwamba, Nyabuswa.
Number of women are battered, abused in families, at places of work, simply because they do not know their rights. So as stakeholders, we come on board.
Actually, the big percentage is about culture. Culture takes a lot. Like most people are most affected by culture, and the most affected ones are actually the women and girls. When I mention culture, what do I mean? Like most of our girls are denied education. Okay, they go to school, they may like stop at P7, but you see like a boy child given fees to push him up to the university, and because you are a girl, you remain seated at home simply because they want you maybe to get married early. And again, there is limited access to property and land compared to boys. For us girls, like we are not considered much. When they are giving out properties, they most consider boys and men, but for us girls we are left out. And now some of the examples, like when we are being brought up, like you see a baby girl, sometimes he's given the dolls to play with, But for boys, they'll be given tracks. Like when you're shopping for the boy child, you like showing him to like such colors like green or blue. But for a girl child, like you go out for shopping, you shop for her like red or pink. And that one, when you're bringing up a child, there is that bias already. You're putting that bias already in that child.
Some women are married and then somebody feels like, where do I go back? My parents have died. This is where I have been. So therefore, I have nowhere to go. So a number of them are abused. A number of them are harassed. A number of them are hurt in one way or the other, emotionally or psychologically tortured. And they have to stay because they are women, simply because they are just women. So somebody feels it is okay to hurt a woman psychologically because they are meant to be hurt.
In job opportunities, you find that some jobs, they are meant for men. For example, if they are advertising for maybe a district engineer, it will be very rare to give a chance to a female to take that.
So my name's Olupot Maurice. I am a gender specialist. I'm also passionate about issues of gender equality. Economic situation has worsened because families are now grappling. Men are unable, the traditional role of men as providers has been challenged because of COVID-19. Men can no longer go out to work. So, but yet there are expectations from their families. We have also seen an increase, upsurge in teenage and early pregnancies, young girls, because people are confined. Because men have neglected their families, you find it increases the issues of violence. There is also increasing drug abuse. People are using drugs, and you know drugs impair your reasoning, and you end up becoming an abuser.
Because we're also human beings like men. We also feel bad like them. We want to be cared for like them. We need that attention that they also need from us.
There are studies which have shown that people think that, like mostly, they interviewed women, and 40% of the women agreed that being beaten by your husband is something normal, that it's a show of love. So you can see the extent to which it has been normalized in society. Then, of course, there is what we call masculine sexual privileges, where society actually applauds men who have more sexual partners. Yet this brings stability in the home, economically and socially. Because, you know, with meager resources, you find a man is having several women who all have to depend on him.
Political part of it, even if you go to council, the ratio, you find that women are very few, men are many. Go to parliament, you find that in a district, there are some constituencies, and every constituency has a male MP, but a woman must cover the whole district. And now you see, like, women don't share clan meetings to resolve conflicts. And they would be doing that because they belong to the clan. But when it's time for clan meetings, girls, women, you are there not talking, whatever.
Gender violence can also be on girl-child education, where parents do not support girl-child education. For example, you find that there is a lot of support on men, on the male sex, just because a girl is going to get married someday and comes out from that family. We want to tell you, dear parents, we want to tell you, our fathers, that a woman can become responsible even after some time. A woman can be a head of the family.
Under stereotypes, you find that there are those things that are not true about gender. Like, for instance, someone will say women are of a weaker sex, which is not true. Under stereotypes, you find that some people have a belief that there are certain things a man should do or what he shouldn't do. And also to women, they will say there are certain things women should do and some things that they should not do, which is not true, because what a man can do, a woman can do, and what a woman can do, a man can also do. So those stereotypes act as a form of gender biases.
Of course, gender biases, they are still there.
Because somewhere, somehow, in the first early days of the church, women were also not allowed to participate in ministry. And we thank God that today, as women, we are given the opportunity, and some of us have taken the opportunity to do ministry like how men do, and we do any other thing that a priest can do. And so we have been given or tasked to talk about our roles as stakeholders in fighting biases about women or about gender. And therefore, we do a number of things as stakeholders, as women fighting for women's rights, to ensure that these women, they also keep along the same road. We encourage them to work.
In the context of COVID-19, you know what COVID has really done? It has escalated the incidences of gender-based violence, because people are locked down. And you know what it means to be locked down. It has created economic situation has worsened because people are confined. And people are confined, you find that most of them are idle. And you know, they say an idle mind is a workshop of a devil.
We even have women, because of the stereotypes against them, something has happened and she feels like, I am not part. That is for men. Because of the upbringing, what do we talk about girl child? What do we talk about men? What do we talk about boys?
Men have been put on the spot as perpetrators. But the question we ask, what are the triggers of this? To me, in my own analysis, I look at several things ranging from social, economic, as well as political. Because when you look at, for example, now, the traditional role of men, of providers, has been challenged. So there is increasing family neglect. Because men have neglected their families, you find it increases the issues of violence.
You find a parent buying these playing materials. She's a girl, you buy a doll. He's a boy, you buy a bicycle. In that, you're showing this girl child that she's not supposed to ride a bicycle. And you're telling this boy child that he's not supposed to babysit. And that is where the problem comes in.
You find that women are making wrong decisions because of the violence. You find like a woman decides to go back to their home and instead sit at home, and also make decisions of going into other activities that really may affect them. For example, we have girls who have gone to Arabic countries to go and work, and the repercussion of that is death. Just because of the mistreatment they've been having, they decide they get an option of going out to work. That is an Arabic.
How does that also affect in peace building processes? Because we already have biased minds, and when there is domestic violence, when there are conflicts, a woman will still feel like she cannot talk freely, just because there are certain things, the do's and don'ts.
They are sick or they are dead. Secondly, girls have gone into early marriages. They are getting early pregnancies just because of mistreatment, and they're not getting this care and love from their homes, and therefore they end up losing even in education. So gender-based violence is affecting so much.
We keep on intimidating him. They keep intimidating, isolating a woman, isolating the girl. You see, no. And in some decisions, they want to leave the women somewhere. You find people have already done the decisions. When you ask how did this come out? It is already finished. Because you are a woman, you are not to decide or you are not to be part of decision. And the effect of like kusorora, kusorora multoro, kusorora, it's like segregate girls and boys. This doesn't give energy to women or girls. They feel they are inferior. They feel intimidated, and of course that it affects the community, the region, the kingdom, because these people you are intimidating, you are losing them. Some of them, they would have been very innovative women or girls. They would have done a lot of impact to the society. But when you start bringing those biases on them, of course they feel affected, and they keep everything to themselves.
And if we can try to see how it holds back women in peace building processes, because after you've said a woman should not do this, and she has grown up thinking that, oh, because I am a woman, I am not supposed to do this. So even where there is violence, she will fail to speak up, because maybe you're like, there are these people who say a woman is not supposed to talk in public. So there is violence, there are conflicts, but she has an idea. But because she's feeling inferior, because of the upbringing she grew up, you're saying women are not supposed to talk in public. Even when she has an idea to speak, an idea to put across about solving these conflicts, she will not speak, just because she has grown when they are saying a woman is not supposed to do what? To speak in public. So that will affect, because you don't know what kind of idea she was going to bring and what it would do in as far as solving these conflicts are concerned. It comes to education, because you've said these are the courses for women and these are the courses for men. Even when a girl child has the capacity to go for that course that you refer to as a course for men, even when she can do that, but because all her lifetime in the process of growing up you've been saying it is a course for men, even in class she's not going to perform, because she'll be like, that is not for us, that is for men. And you find her concentrating on certain subjects, but even when she was going to be able to concentrate on other subjects that would enable her do that course that is perceived for men.
There's nothing that is so bad on this earth like living in a terrifying environment. Like, time comes you don't want to go home because there is so and so, because there is a man, because there is a woman. Oh my God, it shouldn't close, the day shouldn't end, because you don't want to go home. So that environment tends to make somebody tensed. A number of them are getting diseases, like 70% people are dying of non-communicable diseases. Pressure, clots. People don't want to share. Others maybe fear sharing because maybe their culture tells them. We have a saying in our language, so somebody keeps quiet on every pain, on every pressure, on every abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, spiritual abuse, and then somebody says, hey, my pastor said, my pastor. No way. We were given authority to pray to God and then get that spiritual enlightenment as well. Like people who are being beaten or poured soda on in the name of prayer, that is exploitation and misuse of religion.
Because men have grown with those stereotypes in their mind. That's why you find a problem, there is a conflict, and then you hear a man saying, those issues are for women. Those issues are for women. They keep pushing them to women, little knowing that their views about what is happening would help these women to stand up. In my local language, they say, when a tree grows when it's not straight, there's no way how you can change it to make it straight after it has grown. But you can only make it straight when it's still young, before it goes to that stage. So, as we are talking about these biases, let us start with our children. Let us start from our families. Because we have people, I am here, I'm talking about it, but at home I can't talk about it. And yet I have young boys and young girls who are growing up. So those stereotypes are seriously affecting us in the Rwenzori region, but we've not lost hope. We shall continue talking about these things, and hopefully by God's grace, we shall see the change. Because as I talk now, whatever is happening around women, whatever is happening around men, is not like those years of the 1980s, 1970s, where like they say, hey, a woman is not supposed to put on a trouser. But these days we see women putting on trousers. We've seen ministers who are women. We've seen presidents who are women. So meaning there is a change. So slowly by slowly, we shall be there.
So we therefore request that our dear men should change on their behaviors, and we request them to handle women with care. We do not entertain men that really violate our women, that violate young girls.
And whereby we are saying, let there no be these things. A woman can do this, a man can do this, shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. Let us all come together. If it is solving a conflict, it's between man and man. Let a woman come and advise. If it is between woman and woman, let a man come and advise. Because
more sensitization and creation of awareness should be done to parents and to communities to make sure that there is no more gender based.
So for us as church, how do we help women? We encourage them to do handcraft. Somebody can weave a mat, somebody can weave a basket, somebody can do sweaters, and eventually somebody earns. So you don't have to wait for the Kameza money.
We therefore encourage our dear parents to make sure they educate a girl child, they educate every girl. Then we also encourage our fathers to make sure they love their wives, they give them respect too, and we avoid gender.
To solve all this, in my view, we should change what we talk to our children, what we tell them to do.
Like when you are grooming children, don't separate them. Let them all be on the same level.
Political leaders, our leaders in our communities, our leaders at village levels, LOC ones, communities do believe so much in the leadership of their area. When a leader speaks something, they easily believe it. Then secondly, we also want any person of human rights, if someone comes out and speak about it in public, someone trained about it, talk about it more, I think this will also reduce more.
Change the attitude or perspectives about women, especially our male counterparts. You need to look at these women as fellow human beings. You don't have to look at them as the sex objects. That this one is here to just have sex, produce, and these women, they also need to go out. These women, they need that attention. Some of them have money, but what they are lacking is love, the affection which parents cannot give them.
When it comes to fighting gender bias, I think all stakeholders are solely responsible in this. But more especially we women, we should come on board. We should fight. Let's show the rest that we can fight for ourselves, because we are the most affected. Otherwise, our political leaders, our civil servants, all the stakeholders should come on board and break the bias.
Saying that women these days, they no longer respect men. But now this woman goes to work like the way how the man does. This woman also gets tired like the man does. And sometimes some men stay home. So it is no harm for a man to do some little bit of housework. It is not a sin. It is not written anywhere that I shouldn't do. But doing it has no problem. Is it any problem to bathe your own child? Is it any problem to prepare a cup of coffee in the house?
We need to bring men, boys on board and work as partners. So we need to promote more of male engagement. We need role model men. We need a critical mass of men who will join this struggle, so that we actually get rid of what? We get rid of this vice. It is something that's constructed. It's not normal. I believe we can get away with it. But of course, we have to combine our efforts, of course, to do this.
Our duty as different stakeholders to encourage women to join different organizations, join politics and compete like men, and therefore live at the same page. I remember our friend, our stakeholder, Miriam Matembe, said that women, those people who say that for us some of the women are difficult, these women are not difficult. They just need to be understood, to be taken care of, and eventually explore and whatever thing is good in them. They are not organizations, they are not factories, they are not companies, and they need management. They just need that collaboration between a man and a woman and live in peace and harmony.
We also have the Department of Community Policing that is responsible for bridging the gap between the members of the public and police. So they are our mouthpiece as the Uganda Police Force. They give out information on all issues relating to the Uganda Police Force, but also raise awareness in the community on how best we can work together to make sure that we prevent gender-based violence, violence against women, and violence against children.
The people in the Rwenzori region are proud to say that we are taking seriously this problem, and we are informing everybody to be an ambassador, to sensitize the different people in all the 9 districts and the city. And once everybody is aware of this, once everybody knows that,
I encourage all of us, including myself, to seek help either from police or from any place where you can get it, so that you are able to live both spiritual and healthy lives. God bless you so much, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
This documentary is very helpful, as it will help in reducing gender-based violence in families, in communities, and the nation. And I want to thank all the stakeholders, UN Women, Rwenzori Forum for Peace and Justice, and Action on Women Foundation. I thank them for their support, because without them, this documentary wouldn't have been successful. I recommend that this documentary be shared with all stakeholders, so that it helps in the development of the communities and the nation.